these are my top 3 favorite series of all time. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm author ER Reading, and today for you I have a video of my top series of all time. We'll start this journey with actually a book that's not on my list yet. There are a few series that have potential to be on this list and yet aren't because I haven't finished the series. So we're gonna stick to the 3 top series that I have read, but I'm gonna do an honorable mention for a book first. A Wrinkle in Time. This was the book that got me into reading in the first place, and it's an amazing read. It's really intelligent, it's quirky and weird, and I'm sure that you probably read it in school or have heard of it. It's very famous, and I love this book, but it is a series, and I haven't finished the series because I've moved on to other things, but it is on my plan and on my list to finish this series, and maybe this series will end up on my favorite series full time. But this is an honorable mention because this got me into reading as a whole, because this was the first one I ever really finished of a novel, and that meant a lot. Now the next 3 books series that I'm going to show you, actually 2 of them are trilogies, and they have no particular order. I love them all very differently, and they're all my top tier of series books. The first one here for you today is the Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare. This is a trilogy. I originally read this back when I was 16, so 2-3 years ago I read this, and it was amazing, and I had been struggling a lot with the Mortal Instruments series, and I had been struggling with continuing on to the series, and this was my mom's favorite out of Cassandra Clare's books, and I was like, you know what, I can give it a try. It's the prequel. I know enough about the main series to understand what's happening. Now the reason I love this particular series is because it just, if you've read it, you know the ending is next level. I will have a short here on the channel soon, kind of joking about how hard this ending hits for Clockwork Princess. It is absolutely insane. Sorry, I'm like hiding the books here. These books really inspired me in my writing, and there are some elements that I ended up weaving into my novel Soul Chaser. This is the cover, and I love, if you liked these books, you probably like mine, but mine's a little bit more weird. It's not quite as typical as this kind of a book. More information about that on my Instagram if you want to go check that out, also linked down below. But this series, the reason it touched me was because of the way it was presented. The characters, first off, is just one of the main things about this series that makes it amazing. The characters are just so great, and I knew a lot of things going into this series, and I was still shocked, and that made me happy because I can generally guess things quite easily, and so when I can't guess something, it makes me truly happy and excited and like actually shocked. So that was one thing I found with this, and it is the only book series that I will ever accept that the love triangle is okay, and no one can argue with me in the comments. The next series is The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater, and I don't have the first book up here with me, but I do own it. So the first book is The Raven Boys, and then it goes through the 4 books, and then she is added on with a second series and a couple short stories off of it, and I've read the short story Opal, but no spoilers for the Dreamers trilogy yet, but I have the first book and I really want to read it so bad. I got that for Christmas, and I'm super excited to read that one. This series is the only other series other than my book and A Wrinkle in Time that I can clearly say I can't relate anything to in like a good way. Like, it's just that amazing. This whole series is about Blue. The main character has been told her whole life that she will kiss, her kiss will kill her first kiss will kill the boy that she kisses, and she ends up joining the Raven Boys, which are like these rich guys, high schoolers that live in her town, and she ends up going on like adventures with them to find the lost king, and all this other stuff. It's a really interesting plot, and I've done a review here on my channel that I will link down below, but I don't want to go too much into it because I will be here all day, because I just, the reason I love this story was it was just so beautifully done, and this book has my favorite chapter I've ever read in my entire life. I can go into that in the video, but it was chapter 61. Chapter 61, I was broken. Broken. It was beautiful, and the characters are so amazingly done. It's in third person, but it feels like it's in first person. That's how amazing she writes, and I appreciate these with my whole heart and soul. And finally, the Hunger Games trilogy. I know this is kind of very typical favorite, and I'm okay with that. This changed my life, and I'm not trying to be dramatic, but I'm a little bit dramatic here on the channel. If you've been here for long, you know that I'm a little bit dramatic. This series, oh my goodness. It's a very well-known story. Katniss is in District 12, and there's a Hunger Games, and they pull two names every year to go into the Hunger Games, and then they have to fight to the death until there's one person left. And Katniss volunteers for her sister to go into these games, and that's kind of what starts this trilogy. And I don't think that's a huge amount of spoilers considering that how long this has been out. This was my 10th anniversary set with the whole trilogy and a Q&A in the back with Susan Collins. This particular series inspired like my overall writing. If you look at my writing, I write first person present tense, which I've only ever seen in this series and in my book. I mean, I know that it's common also in YA fiction, but I don't read super widely yet. I have quite a few that I like to stick with, and none of them so far have been first person present tense. They always are first person past tense. I very naturally started writing in first person present tense just because I loved it so much. And this series, one of the things that I draw most from here was how she wrote Katniss in book 3. And this is kind of a bit of a spoiler, so you can skip like 20 seconds, but it's how she wrote her trauma, responding to everything that she'd been through. It's not super spoilery, but the way that Katniss reacts is so realistic and so understandable and amazing, the way that she wrote it. And that's one of the reasons I truly love book 3, and book 2, however, my favorite. Even the movies, this is actually my favorite book to movie adaptation out of any book slash movie that I've seen. Wrinkle in Time I hate so much. If you've read the books, you'll understand what I mean. This, they did a really, really good job, and book 2 is my favorite, but only slightly more than book 1 and 3. I love both of the book 1 is very nostalgic, and book 3 has a lot of interesting stuff, especially as a writer, that I gleaned from it that have helped me write my characters and are just so impactful, and that's one of the main reasons I love this series. Alright, this is the stack of all my favorite series. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you're not already. I would love to have you here. Please do comment down below. Let me know if any of these are your favorite series or what your favorite series is, and I will see you guys next week with another video. Bye!